Dear Thai Desanga, what's the day today? 27th of December in Upper Hamlet. And we have a sharing this morning on the subject of refuge, taking refuge. So here we are in Plum Village for our Christmas week. And did you all enjoy Christmas so far in Plum Village? Some flowers. Okay, good. We just had the chant before the talk from the brothers and sisters of taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So it's a very traditional word that is used in Buddhism, taking refuge. But what does it mean to us when we hear this term? Maybe it sounds it's not a usual way of expressing something for ourselves, or maybe we're familiar with the idea of asking ourselves, what do we take refuge in life? So we're going to explore that topic, myself, Brother Pháp Lai, and dear Sister Thăng Nghiem. I'm going to share first, and then I invite Sister Thăng Nghiem also to share something exploring together, and also sharing something of personal experience of taking refuge. So, the question of when we come to Plum Village, there is a sense in which we are taking refuge in the beautiful environment of Plum Village, and the community of practice, the Sangha. When we come here, we discover a peaceful energy around, a peaceful environment. And we find other people to be very friendly. We haven't met them before, but we see people smiling with their eyes and being very kind to each other. And there is a sense in which there is a friendliness, a kindness, a loving speech is part of the community of Plum Village. So when we come to Plum Village, we're looking for a place where we can feel relaxed, be accepted for just who we are. We don't have to try too hard, and we can put down our load, put down our burden from the outside. We can rest. We may even be seeking a refuge from our own habit energy. Sometimes because we know the environment here, there is not too many distractions. We don't have too much internet. So we can just enjoy a break from the usual habits outside. And we also when we come to Plum Village, we're coming to a place where there is a common ground of understanding that we're coming for a similar reason, as well as to have a place where we can relax. We also many of us want to practice the practices of mindfulness and meditation, learning how to take care of ourselves and come back to ourselves and not be so reactive, and learn how to understand ourselves better. And when each of us is doing that, we feel very safe with each other. We're all taking care of ourselves. And we have more space. We feel a sense of spaciousness around. So these are some of the things that we hope to find in Plum Village, and hopefully we find when we come here. And we co-create it as a community. So even you come for just 1 week, your practice gives a lot of inspiration to others, and including to the brothers and sisters. And you refresh the energy of Plum Village when you come here. So thank you for coming and spending Christmas week with us and refreshing the energy in Plum Village. The practices, we take refuge in the practices is another way of saying, you know, I've shared a bit about taking refuge in the Sangha, and the Sangha is practicing. And when we take refuge in the practice, in ourselves, it can be we discover something very helpful. There is a sutra in the book, the Chanting from the Heart book, a sutra of the Buddha called Taking Refuge in Oneself. And we need to learn how to do that. We can't always rely on our partner or other people, outside conditions to take care of us. When we go through life, we discover we need something. We need a way to be able to take care of ourselves. So the practice of mindful breathing and mindful walking is a way to come back and take refuge in yourself, in the practice of coming back home. So the word refuge and home for me are very similar words. Taking refuge and finding your true home. And when we can come into our body, come into connection with ourselves, we can feel at home in ourselves. This is to take refuge in ourselves. And in that place, when we're at home in our body, we can take care of the emotions, take care of what is happening in us. In the world today, there is many disturbing things happening, and we get anxiety and fears arising. Sometimes it feels the world is crashing in on us, and we want a place to take refuge. So maybe we also come to Plum Village for that sense of safety. But even Plum Village can only go so far to offer that. We need to learn how to also. So just to be in Plum Village is already, you can experience a lot. You don't have to do too much. But finally, to learn the practice of coming back to yourself is the most sure way to give yourself the capacity, the resilience to be able to be with the anxieties and the difficulties that may be arising for you. We have anxieties, and sometimes we feel overwhelmed, and sometimes it's good to just disconnect from the thought streams and the stories around them, and just give ourselves wholeheartedly to the mindfulness of breathing, invest 100% in our steps as we practice walking meditation, giving ourselves into each step. And gradually we can calm our body and calm our mind. And sometimes we've built up quite a strong suffering of anxiety, or maybe it's resentment, and it's like we've become a victim of our resentment or this anxiety, these worries. And we really need something very powerful to overcome that. It may be waking us up in the middle of the night and causing us a lot of pain. So we have to find a way to take care. And the practice of just simply staying present with what is, not getting identified with the story, coming back to the breath, and if the emotions arise, taking refuge in the trunk of your tree. We teach this to children. So you come to the trunk of your tree, your belly, and you breathe from that place. This can help you, and all the while you stay present, so you're not running away from yourself, but at the same time not following the thoughts. And slowly, after time, we can come through the kind of labyrinth, the dark caves of where we're trapped, where we're suffering, and we come out into the light again, and we experience some calm and some clarity, some perspective. We can see more clearly what is going on, and we're not so caught into the story, maybe the anxiety, the resentment, maybe we have some guilt, or we have many emotions like jealousy. We can be caught in many ways, in our craving, our addiction. And to get this distance, this perspective, it doesn't mean necessarily that the external situation has changed. But we have changed our relationship to it, and we can relate to it more positively. And this is what we hope to achieve with the practice. When we look back at our lives, there are many places we've taken refuge. Our first refuge may be our mother and our parents as we come into this world, and they are there for us and they nurture us and they give us the attention and the love that we need. Love, as well as food and water, is a basic need, as well as the air we breathe. You cannot survive without love. I've heard it said that in the UK the biggest cause of death is loneliness. So love is something, a kind of nourishment that we need. We need togetherness, as it says on the panels here. Love and togetherness, they go together. And as we, in our family home, we experience our home as a place of refuge. And as we grow up, we maybe take adventures outside, but we always will know we have somewhere to go back to. Even our experiences, there were some difficulties at home. Hopefully it's not entirely without the elements of a place where we feel we belong and we have a refuge. Thai often said that the school environment was maybe a second opportunity for a child to experience home. So the teachers have a big role in offering children love and acceptance. And the community of the school can be another refuge, another home as we grow. And when we too become a father or a mother or a teacher, we are aspiring to be a refuge for other people, for children and for other people. But if we don't have a refuge for ourselves, and if we don't know how to take take refuge, then we don't have that solidity to offer. So it's natural that we want to be there for other people, but the prerequisite is that we learn how to be there for ourselves. And this is a practice of compassion, the compassion that we learn to have for ourselves. When we have a difficult feeling and we can smile to that feeling with loving kindness, it's a kind of act of compassion to ourselves, allowing there to be compassion for just how we are, accepting ourselves. When we become comfortable with being vulnerable, with our vulnerability, we're able to go to that place where we do feel vulnerable. That's exactly the place where we can grow our resilience. It's there that we meet ourselves in a very meaningful way. And if we can smile with compassion, which already contains, it's like the Buddha's half smile, has the element of compassion and non-fear, to be with even a difficult feeling, to smile to that. And the insight that we are more than that emotion can help us a lot. The insight that this emotion is impermanent can help us in those times. And another insight I find very helpful is knowing that if I suffer in this way, if I'm experiencing this kind of suffering, be it physical or mental or whatever it may be, then for sure, it may be grief, I may have lost someone. Whatever it is, we can be sure that we're not alone in that suffering, that there are many, many people suffering right at this moment, at this very same time, around the world with something similar, if not pretty much the same, identical. And that thought allows you to give rise to a bigger sense of what you're doing when you practice to bring compassion to yourself. You realize that you're practicing for these people also. Maybe you're practicing for animals also, other species. Maybe you're practicing knowing that not everybody has had the good fortune to discover the way of practice, the way of coming back home to ourselves. And so your success with the practice, in the future you may be able to very much be in a position where you can help somebody else because you've been through it. So giving rise to this thought of connection with other people and the compassion that can then arise, it brings the whole thing to a place of much more, there's much more space, and somehow you get in touch with something bigger than yourself because of that thought of compassion, and you have a lot more to bring to the situation. Another thought that can be helpful is to take refuge in the qualities of Mother Earth. The Mother Earth is able to receive a lot of unpleasant things as well as the pleasant things, and somehow has a huge capacity and doesn't judge, but embraces and tries to help transform. And this is also, so when we think of the capacity of Mother Earth to embrace and accept, we know that we are children of Mother Earth, and we can invoke that quality in us, and that we can ask Mother Earth to also take care, help us take care. The brothers and sisters, every day we practice touching the earth, and we touch the earth to be in touch with those qualities of acceptance and inclusivity. And in doing so, we're also in touch with, we draw on the strengths of our ancestors, our spiritual ancestors and our blood ancestors, to give us support in these difficult moments. So you could say we're taking refuge in our ancestors as we touch the earth, and in Mother Earth herself. Sister Eleni, Sister Thang, she shared in the Dharma talk on Christmas Eve that life is the principal refuge, trusting in life itself. And I find this a good image, a good thing to consider. When we consider taking refuge in life, it means we come back to the present moment and we come back to ourselves again, because we want to connect with life. It means life is only found in the present moment. So we have to establish ourselves in the present moment and discover what is happening right here and now. First of all, in our body, how are we feeling in our body? What is happening? We listen to our body. We listen to our breath. We get in touch with the rhythm, and we listen to our heart. We listen to our emotions. We tune in. We're tuning into life. That's what's happening in the present moment. And when we discover that we are more than just this body, but we are life without boundaries. We are children of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is a precious flower in the cosmos. We can lose a lot of the fear that comes from thinking of ourselves as a separate self. The idea that we are a separate self can cause us so much suffering. So this insight is something we can take refuge in. Of course, I mentioned we may be coming here, we have habit energies, and we all know it's maybe useful for us to investigate, to explore and question ourselves. What do we take refuge in our life? It's not, if we don't, if we look, we see there can be false refuges. Refuges which may bring some comfort for a while, may bring some relief, temporary relief, but we know that it's a false refuge. It doesn't work. And some people, that might be entertainment, it might be alcohol. It's a way to suppress the emotions. It might be other kinds of drugs, marijuana. It may be we take emotional comfort, always seeking affirmation from other people. Maybe we get ourselves into positions of power or status in order to get that feeling that we're okay, we are somebody. But it's not meeting something inside, it's not meeting the real need inside. It may, for a while, work, but we may not realize that. It may be we have the misfortune of always getting our need met from the outside, and we never have enough suffering to bring us to a place where we discover the practice, discover a way to really meet the need inside, the deep need. So if we take refuge in these other things, sooner or later, it may not be until we die, but sooner or later we're going to discover that wasn't the way. That didn't help. And another kind of false refuge can be an ideology. It may be something very convincing, even scientific. Maybe, but we have in the 14 mindfulness trainings a reference to not being bound or idolatrous about any ideology or doctrine, even Buddhist ones. So we come here, we think this is a Buddhist place, surely that's okay. But you can drop that idea, because we can take, it can become a false refuge if it's just abstract and in the realm of intellect and ideas, and we're not applying it to our life. If we're not applying it and it's not bringing actual benefit to ourselves and others, we should be very wary. It may be a false refuge. It may bring some comfort. And there may be other religious, for myself, I admire the life of Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and many spiritual ancestors. But I'm a bit wary sometimes of the dogma that comes with them. Their teachings can also be very beautiful, but you have to be discerning and you have to polish the jewels and then apply them. Because the life is impermanent and we sometimes are seeking something to grasp that will feel certain, feel sure. But we cannot find it. And even we earn a lot of money and we have a house and we maybe have a fence around the house and guards at the gates, where we don't feel safe. Material things cannot buy us true security. So we need to go, we know that things are uncertain. And sometimes we feel we're searching for a way to be in control of things. This can lead to, again, taking a false refuge, like looking for some way to control the situation. Sometimes people become anorexic. They will use control of food as a way to feel that they have some control, but then they suffer because of this. So becoming part of the practice is becoming comfortable with as I said before, vulnerability and also this uncertainty, and finding the resilience for in being able to be with that. That is a true refuge, to be able to do that. So it was wonderful for briefly to take refuge in the bell. And I would remind us that the bell is our friend in Plum Village. Every time we hear the bell, it is an opportunity to completely stop and put down everything and come back to ourselves. And even it's just a short time, it can bring a lot of refreshment and restore us and remind us of our priority, because we do get lost in our thinking and our way. So we need friends that help us stop. So if the bell is a friend, but also our friends in the Dharma can help us, our spiritual friends, they may be, they can be there for us when we're going through a difficult time, and they may also help us, hold a mirror to us, and we trust them. We trust them. So we accept when they hold a mirror to us, we look and we say, okay, I see it. It's not easy sometimes to see ourselves. One passage I was very moved by was Thai's book, The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching. And in it, the Buddha, if you want to meet the Buddha, you have to come with your suffering. That is the bridge of connection. If you want to take refuge in the Buddha, then you come saying, this is my suffering. Please help. So you entrust your suffering to the Buddha, not to the statue on the altar, but to the living Buddha in you, the capacity in you. And you may be kneeling and touching the earth in front of an altar where there is a Buddha, but that is just the symbol for you to touch this energy of compassion. So I've talked something about where we can take compassion, where we can take refuge. For me, taking refuge in compassion, in insight, are the deeper refuges. And we can also say taking refuge in our actions. As we go through the daily life, our actions of body, speech and mind, we say they are our true belongings. So every time we do something, we say something, they have those actions, even when we think something, it has our signature on it. And that we have, with mindfulness and awareness, we can come to a place where we can have agency over our actions, and we can actually choose to act in a certain way. And we can give rise to a generous thought, a forgiving thought, a kind thought. And we know when we're giving rise to a thought which is not so kind. And we see clearly the suffering that will bring, the consequences of those actions, the thoughts, the speech. and the bodily actions. So if we have agency and you want to invest in your life rather than think in terms of saving lots of money and material things, think in terms of having lots of good actions in this life as your reservoir of that is the ground on which you stand. So I'd like to end with a poem of Thai, and then invite Sister Thăng Nghiem to share. So this is a powerful poem. Called Recommendation. And it was an invitation by Thai offered to the young people in the School of Youth for Social Service in Vietnam during the war. He wanted to prepare them to die without hatred. Some had already been killed violently, his students, and he cautioned others against hating. So he's inviting them to take refuge deeply in compassion. And I wanted to share, so just use this moment to share that Thai entrusted himself, took refuge in the younger generations continually. So some of those younger generations are now old members of the community, but he continually put his trust in the young people from the time in Vietnam in the 60s until now. So we are the continuation of Thai. He's entrusted himself to us in that way. And right now he's with his young disciples in Thailand. So I offer this poem from Thai. It was 1965. Promise me this day, promise me now, while the sun is overhead, exactly at the zenith. Promise me, even as they strike you down with a mountain of hate and violence, even as they step on you and crush you like a worm, dismember, disembowel you, remember, brother, remember, man is not our enemy. The only thing worthy of you is compassion, invincible, limitless, unconditional. Hatred will never let you face the beast in man. One day when you face this beast alone, with your courage intact, your eyes kind, untroubled, even as no one sees them, out of your smile will bloom a flower. And those who love you will behold you across 10,000 worlds of birth and dying. Alone again, I go on, with bent head, but knowing that love has become eternal. And on the long rough road, the sun and the moon will continue to shine.
Good morning, dear Thầy, dear Sangha. Thank you, Brother Pháp Lai, for your love and your energy of reminding us about people, about the places, about the things that we take refuge in. And just let you know that now you can enjoy the tea. Dear family, I don't recall taking refuge in anything when I was young. I didn't know. I didn't even hear the word taking refuge when I was young. Taking refuge for me, it just gives me a sense of homeless. That maybe I am so powerless. I can do anything. So I have to search, I have to look for something, for someone to take refuge in. My parents, they were the refugees. They left Vietnam when I was small, and they crossed the ocean to come to America, where they believed that they can find freedom. And it was a really hard journey for them to come to America. And they stopped by Philippines, and they stayed there as refugees. So when I heard the word refugees, it gave me a sense of homeless. No home, nothing that I can do. I have to go, I have to search. And I don't feel at ease at all hearing the word taking refuge before. And I was so lucky to come to this family, the Plum family. There's Thầy, our teacher, brothers and sisters and friends in this family practicing together. And I feel so fortunate to hear the word taking refuge. Before I left Vietnam to come to America to be reunited with my family there, I consider my life at that time free. Just like in the song, seeing myself as a waterfall of Trịnh Công Sơn, very famous songwriter, singer in Vietnam. He said that in our life, sometimes we just like leaf or grass that just sit and sing and play freely. Người ta có khi tựa lá cọ, ngồi hát ca rất tự do. I could do anything I like. I enjoyed the garden. I enjoyed the fruit trees in that garden. our garden at home. I could come out of the house and I found heaven. Many trees, and they're so green. Birds were singing. Rose apples hanging everywhere around the house. Mangoes, different kind of mangoes. Chum chum, bong bong, guava. Many. And I even like it so much that I could sit on a little bridge. It's made by the coconut, the trunk of the coconut tree, and just let it hang in from this shore to the other of the pond or the little river. Just sit there and just hang my leg there and just enjoy the nature and then enjoy the food. And my friends would come and we play. And I just remember myself that I tapped right into whatever my friend told me. Say, I like it. And I say, yes, I like it too. I want to do that. And I say, yes, I want to do that too. We're very free. And up until when I was 13 years old, my great grandmother took me to the temple. And she said to me, today is a very special day to your life, of your life. Come with me to the temple. So put on your beautiful dress, do something with your hair, and come with me to the temple. So I followed her to the temple. And I remember there was a ceremony. There were so many monks and nuns in that temple, just only one monk, and he's old. And in that ceremony, I remember him saying things like, and I was kneeling in the center of the Buddha hall with many other people. Most of them were old. And I was like 13 years old. And I remembered him, the monk, saying that not to kill, not to steal, etc. Do you promise not to? Do you promise not to? And I remember that us, the one who's kneeling, we bow, we touch the earth. And then after that ceremony, nobody talked about it. And I don't quite remember or try to think about it or talk about it at all. This morning in Newer Hamlet, we have the 5 mindfulness trainings, transmission ceremony. And we had about 20 lay brother and sister receive the trainings. I'm sorry, last night in the evening. And I was there in the ceremony and I was so touched. Thinking about how fortunate, how lucky we are having these 5 trainings to practice, to take refuge in. 2,600 years ago, at the time of the Buddha, he also went to the king. He also went to his friends, religious leaders, different groups, to share the practice of the 5 mindfulness trainings. At that time, it were very simple. But I know that it's just from his deep insight, investigation, and he saw the society and the life of his people very clearly, that he suggested the 5 mindfulness training for them. And it was just so simple, like the monk transmitted the trainings to us at that temple. Just not to kill, not to steal, not to commit in sexual misconduct, not to consume alcohol, not to lie. It was very simple. But there's some discourses that he really explained to his people how to practice at his time with these trainings. And if we look again into our 5 mindfulness training, the new version that Thầy and his community edited, revised it, then we see it just really more elaborated, more accord to our time, our current time, our society. The Buddha said that when we practice the trainings, remember, you receive the trainings from me, from my community. But if it's come to a time that the training is not applicable anymore to your time, then forget it. You see that openness? You see that open in his teaching? So he doesn't say that you have to always follow my teaching or my trainings. He said that it's not accord or applicable anymore, then forget it. But if it is, then practice it. And if there's something that not in the training, but it's come to your society, that the civilized agrees, then you should follow and practice. And earlier when we listened to the teaching of the trainings from the most venerable Minh Thông, he's in Vietnam, and he reminded us the words of the Buddha saying about this. And he gave us an example. He said that, dear brother and sister, remember before, about 5 years ago or so, in Vietnam, we didn't wear helmet when we drove a motorbicycle. We didn't put anything on our head, except our cap or straw hat, but no helmet. And the monks and the nuns, they didn't have to practice that at all. But nowadays, in Vietnam, if you come out of your house, you usually put that on your head right away, because if not, they're going to charge you. They're going to give you a ticket. So just like, so the Venerable say, you see, it's not from our training, it's not from our precepts, but the society says so. And people agree upon this. Then do it. And taking refuge, not until I grew up a little bit bigger, and there was time I started to feel confusing. I tried to arrange, I tried to make things in order. Should be left, should be right, should be in this category or the other. Then I got into trouble. Nothing made sense to me at all. The other day I saw people were so happy. It's not the same the next day. The other day I felt so happy, pleasant. And maybe in that afternoon or that evening I felt a bit empty in my heart. And also I have question in mind about existence and disappearing, birth and death. The Buddha said that there's many suffering in our life, and one of them is apart from our loved ones. And I remember when I was apart from my loved one, I suffered a lot. Everything was still the same in front of me, but I felt like a vacant house, like nobody at all. And I couldn't understand why. But I just been pulled in that sadness. And I was suffering, try to go back, try to look for my happiness garden, island again. It's not the same anymore. I asked the big people in my family, what's going on to me? Sometimes I felt like this, and the other time I felt different. In that family, the other day was like that, and the next day they are in commotion. Love was there, love disappeared. And I didn't get a satisfied answer. Usually my grandmother say, it's life, and I didn't agree at all. Life's supposed to be more beautiful. Also she mentioned about that's impermanence, and I didn't like impermanence. And I was stuck into this confusing views and notions, and I tried to read books, all that, and I still couldn't find an answer, even though everything said very clearly in the book again, life, impermanence. And I didn't know what to take refuge in. Because I see the impermanence, even though I didn't really understand about impermanence. Not quite right now. But I see people change. Me, myself change. Everything around me change. But I didn't appreciate the changeness. I didn't appreciate impermanence at all. And when I met Thai and the Sangha, out of my suffering, that you come to the Buddha from that. So from that, I came to Thai and his Sangha, and I learned about impermanence, about life, about taking refuge. And I was so glad. He taught us about impermanence in such a way that I have to agree and say, long live impermanence. It's impermanence, that's why we are here. Maybe the week before you came here, you were at home, and then thanks to impermanence, another day, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and then you here. That stands to impermanence, change of time and space. And then just like he opened my eyes to see that because of impermanence, we here, we meet at this very time. Because of impermanence, then I have a chance to learn about my suffering and transform it, not to stay with it, overwhelmed by it. And he taught us about life, to take refuge in impermanence, take refuge in life. What is life? And is it life is possible in the present moment? Brother Pháp Lai already mentioned. And he taught us about the practice of traveling happily in the present moment. He taught us about how the mind works. And it's so interesting that I follow this path until now. And day by day practicing with the Sangha, I see myself really taking refuge in the Sangha. And it's not like before anymore, like I come to the Sangha and draw all my suffering to the Sangha. I'm so powerless. Here my unhappiness, here's my despair, my sorrow, here I give it all to you, Sangha. It's not like that. But when I take refuge in the Sangha, when we take refuge in the Sangha, we are encouraged by the wise one, by our teacher. Is that we made a commitment. We are not. It's like this. Like you taking refuge, meaning that you a little bit depend on the Sangha. But the practice is not that you want to avoid the left and go to the right. Doesn't mean that you want to totally depend on the Sangha and you lose your freedom. You lose your interdependence or you lose your independence. You follow me, okay? Thank you. And if we go back and read the trainings again, usually we start with aware of the suffering caused by, and then I'm committed to. So taking refuge in the Sangha or taking refuge in whatever, our feelings, our emotion, our situation in the world, our Sangha, our trainings, we take refuge in such a way that we still have our independence and freedom. When I take refuge in the Sangha, I see that I really free. I really touch the sense of freedoms in me. When I come to the Sangha, I don't impose any heavy notion or view on anybody at all. Coming to the Sangha, we will get in touch with something very powerful, very inclusive. We listen to everybody's ideas, everybody's experiences. We open, we listen, and then we share our own. Nobody imposed anything heavy on anybody in the Sangha. That's why I appreciate the most. And when we listen together, and together we discover something beautiful, and we want to go for it. And it's gives me a sense of freedom in taking refuge in the Sangha, because I'm so free. Just let it out there and have fun in a joyful way collaborated, working together. I don't have to go fight for my view. Also taking refuge in the Sangha, I'm so free because I can let go and not being attached to my own reference, identity, like, dislike, notion about suffering, notion about happiness. And that's how I take refuge. And more concretely, how to practice it. There's many practices that Thai and Plum Village offer to us. Very basic. Being in the present moment. Because like the Buddha taught, the past already gone, and the future is not yet there. And if we sit here, but our minds in the past or in the future, then we are in an imaginary mind, illusion. We losing ourselves in the present moment. And all of the practices here is to help us to come back, to enjoy, to be comfortable in that island of the present moment. And there's many other practices that help us a lot. Mindful eating, mindful drinking. You drank your tea already? Thank you. Okay. Thank you to Sangha for allowing Brother Pháp Lai and me to share with you about our practice of taking refuge. And I hope that you enjoy taking refuge in your refuge. Brother Pháp Lai, you have any things to share last?
So I think that's enough for today. And we're just after 11 o'clock and we have walking meditation. And maybe just share briefly to say, as we walk on the earth, we entrust ourselves to Mother Earth with each step, so we can really give, I'm going to have to stand up for this, just to really allow each step to take refuge in Mother Earth and let Mother Earth know that you are there for her also. So, Mother Earth, here I am, here I am. Really offer your whole presence to Mother Earth and to yourself. And there was a time when Thai, I think he was in Canada, it was a US tour, and he shared that he had been troubled with the situation of the world in terms of the climate change and things like that. And he asked in his meditation to Mother Earth, can I trust you to be able to cope with what is happening and to be able to renew yourself and remain a refuge for humanity? And he received a question back. Can I trust you? And Thai looked into himself and took some time and then, dear Mother Earth, you can trust me. And by me, Thai meant us, his continuation, his Sangha, and all humanity. He has that faith that we can be there, and Mother Earth also has to entrust herself to us as we entrust ourselves to her. So the practice of taking refuge is also to become refuge. And we start with ourselves, and we have help along the way from each other together. So that's maybe the conclusion to the talk. Thank you so much. Sit back down.